Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm gonna take a look at AVI-8's newest release, the Centenary 1920s edition. And the reference number on this watch is AVI-405802. And this is the second AVI-8 watch I review, so it was very interesting to see how the two compared and if they have fixed the issues I had with their previous model or the previous watch I reviewed. And as always, let's start off with some specifications. The case size is 42mm in diameter. The lug width is 20mm. The case thickness is around 12mm. It got a sapphire crystal on the front. It is water resistant down to 5 ATM. It got the Miura 8018 movement with the sub-second dial between 6 and 4 o'clock. It's a pretty interesting location for the sub-second dial, but we'll get to that later. And as I said, this is the second watch I review from AVI-8. And I had a couple of complaints with the previous watch I reviewed. I thought the movement looked a bit boring, very undecorated, and the case got almost no finishing at all. It was a very plain case, and the size was a bit too big at 43mm. And this one is 42, so they have gone down in size, which is great to see. And thanks to that, I think this watch wears a bit better, as we're gonna see on my wrist shot. And I think the dial is also a bit more subtle and more clean than the previous watch I reviewed, so that's also very nice to see. And as we can see, the dial is almost a cream colored, cream white, with yellow markers with a black frame around them. They are raised from the dial. I think it looks great. I'm personally not the biggest fan of 1920s pilot watches or watches inspired by 1920s watches, but I think they have done a great job balancing the retro aspect and retro look of this watch while keeping it a touch modern. The hands look almost like cathedral or skeleton type of hands. A very interesting thing is the location of the sub-second dial between 6 and 4 o'clock. I think that looks great, as we usually see the sub-seconds above 6. It gives it a bit more fun look, and me personally, I like symmetrical dials, but I think this works great. And this is of course thanks to the Miura 8018 movement that have the sub-second at this location. The crown is a big onion or pumpkin shaped with blue and red markings, and it's very easy to grip, as it should on a pilot inspired watch. It's very easy to wind it and setting the time. And the crown itself is very stable, almost no wobble at all, so that's nice to see. One thing I complained about in my previous video of the other AVI-8 watch, it was the case and the pretty boring and plain case. And I'm very happy to say that they have done a much better job with the case on this watch than on the previous watch I reviewed. Here we got brush surfaces on the side and on the top of the lugs, and we got a really nice chamfering between the lugs and the side, which looks great. And I think this really adds to the watch as a whole, and I think it's a great step in the right direction when it comes to the case finishing on AVI-8 watches. One other complaint I had was the pretty boring looking movement. The other watch I reviewed got the Miura 8050 movement, I think it was. We can see some minor decoration here, and I think the decoration is very minor, but I still think it makes the movement look a lot better than without the decorations. So that's also nice to see, and it feels like all the complaints I had with the previous watch is fixed with this one. I think it's really nice to see that a company tries to improve their watches, and I think this is a big step in the right direction for AVI-8, as I must say I really like this watch. This is a very solid piece. It's a tasteful throwback to watches from the 1920s. It's pretty modern as a whole, but it still feels very vintage inspired. So I think they have done a great job with that. I still think the case is a bit too big at 42mm. It wears pretty big and chunky as we're gonna see, but it's still pretty comfortable, and pilot watches should be a bit bigger, so you can tell the time very easily. And the price of £249 is a lot better as well, and I think that's a reasonable price for the specifications you are getting. You're getting decent specifications, sapphire crystal, nice finishing on the case, decent movement with some minor decorations, a custom rotor, and overall great quality, I should say. And so I think this brings a lot of value for your money, and as I said, a step in the right direction. But now let's switch perspective and take a look at the wrist shot. Okay, here it is, and as we can see, I think it sits pretty nicely on my 7-inch wrist. It's still a pretty big watch, and it's not the slimmest watch either, but I still think it's a lot better than 43mm, and this size is more wearable for most people, as 42 is a pretty standard size, especially for pilot-inspired watches. And I must say the overall watch is very comfortable. The strap is also very nice. It really matches the look of this watch, and it's very comfortable as well. Feels of decent quality, not the best strap I felt, but certainly not the worst either. So that's great. This is the first watch in a series of similar pilot-inspired watches from different eras. I think they are going for 1920s, 1940s, and so on. I'm very interested to see how those watches will come out as well, as this is a clear improvement from their previous watches or previous watch that I have reviewed. So I must really commend them for improving their products, and that's always a very nice thing to see. And of course, not everyone will like the design of this watch, and that is always subjective, as I'm not the biggest fan of pilot watches in general, but I still think this is a solid option and solid watch if you're looking for this kind of watch. So what do you think of this watch? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on this watch. And as always, thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more watch related content, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye.